Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the Las Vegas Raiders News Review. I'm Jason Smith, aka The Knight. And man, this is an impromptu episode. Again, man, I'm not going to get into where I've been and what I've been doing, but I do want to start off by giving a big shout out to my boy Tony, man. He's been a follower of this channel for a long time. I constantly run into him at the gym that we work out at, and we always have these great conversations about what the Raiders are doing, what the Raiders have been up to, the good, the bad, the ugly. Brothers, I just wanted to make sure I gave you a shout out. If you run across this episode, man, kind of inspired by you, bro, just to you keep always bringing the Raiders back into the forefront for me. And I was like, dude, man, I really have to. This is therapy for me, guys. This is so impromptu. I got nothing written down. I got no notes. I got no graphics or anything made up. I'm continuously working on the studio here and preparing it to create more content. I got a lot of things that I do, a lot of content that I create for different things. And man, this has just always been the starting point of me creating content and even having a place like this to record. So a lot of things have been happening since I've been on here. I was here right before the season started. I had this whole intention to just really pick up the pace and really bring the podcast back. And it fell short. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, but things at work got really hectic. Family life got hectic. I did a great in major life change happened for me in my Crohn's disease and my diet. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I feel great. I feel 100%. My health is on point right now, and the Raiders seem to be trying to head that way once again. And I wanted to come in before free agency started, before things started to really pick up and get momentum going. And I wanted to come out here and say a few things and bring into the forefront where the state of the Raiders are at right now for the 2025 NFL season. I do a video every year, and it's very, very early for me to even say this, but this is not one of those videos. But I always do an episode where I talk about when optimism meets reality. When optimism meets reality, and once again, I mean, free agency hasn't even started yet, and the optimism around this organization is starting to already grow. Expectations are kind of already starting to be put out there. Not so adamant. There's so much that this team has to prove and do. There's so many contracts and free agency. We'll be getting into that this week, or maybe we'll kick it off next week. We'll see how my schedule flows moving forward. But today I wanted to talk about the organization itself, because this is the starting point. This is where we were at, right? We let AP go 1 year. That's all he made it. Okay. We let go of Telesco 1 year. That's all he made it. And we find ourselves in a very peculiar situation, or do we? It feels like we've been here many times, right? And the first thing I wanted to talk about today was none other than Mark Davis himself, because Mark Davis gets a lot of heat. And I'm not even going to sit here and tell you how you should or should not feel about the owner of this organization. He inherited it from his father after the great Al Davis passed away back in 2011. And it's been a roller coaster ride for him. He's been on this journey of trying to create his own identity inside this organization, but yet continued to keep his father's, legacy alive with the commitment to excellence, a just win baby attitude, and, pride and poise, the whole nine. And the thing is that I think he's still going against the league. That's what it feels like. And let me tell you what I mean. After his father's passing, right, we look at the Reggie McKenzie, not Jack Del Rio, Dennis Allen era. Like, that wasn't Mark Davis at all, really. Yeah, Mark Davis had to sign off on it all, but it happened so fast. There was a lot of legacy players in place that were kind of helping him through this process. So, Mark didn't really have a good feel of what he wanted to do, what he should do, or how he should go about it. He's flat out said from day one, I know what I don't know. I'm not my father. I'm not the football guy that he was. He's more of a businessman. He kind of handled a lot of the negotiations in Oakland and the stadium stuff. He was the one that took the PSL off our tickets back in Oakland back in the day. That was Mark Davis's role. That's what he did. Now he inherited this beautiful franchise, this historic and legendary franchise, and he didn't know what to do. So after the Dennis Allen project started to fade and it wasn't going to work out, this is where he kind of stepped in and he was kind of like, man, I want Jack Del Rio. And he literally forced Jack Del Rio on Reggie McKenzie. He didn't let Reggie McKenzie go out and find another guy. But even if you go back then, we had Dennis Allen simply because nobody wanted to come here. It wasn't a stable organization when Al passed. And it wasn't a stable organization even after Dennis Allen got fired. The fact that Mark was able to get a Jack Del Rio, I'm not going to lie. And I don't think the nation can deny the excitement they had. Jack Del Rio had everything lined up for success. He had Derek Carr, Greg Olson. He had some pieces in place that I think that there was an opportunity. Bill Musgrave was a part of that whole ordeal. And there was a lot of good things that were happening. 1 year of greatness, then another year of failure that led into the John Gruden era, right? Which was hands down the biggest reason Jack Del Rio wasn't around anymore. Jack Del Rio, I believe, would have got another opportunity had John Gruden didn't finally say, hey, I'm coming back. But John Gruden just didn't leave the booth to be the head coach of the Raiders. Okay. He came back to literally be the football operations. Like this was as close as you were going to get of having full control and ownership of a team outside of signing the paychecks than any other organization in the National Football League. He was given complete autonomous power. He was the one that was running the scouting department, the drafts. It was his people. It was his organization. And he came in and all fairness to John Gruden, the 98 to 2003 John Gruden, those were the days for me, man. Those are some of the best times I had in my life being a Raider fan. But truth be told, I wasn't as impressed with his second stint here at the Raiders as I was his first. But in fairness to John Gruden, it looked like he was about to accomplish what he set out to do. When the league released those emails, he had this team gelling pretty well. Rich Bisaccia was the interim head coach, and he was able to rally this team into a playoff appearance, short-lived, just like Jack Del Rio was short-lived. But again, what would have happened if Gruden would have had that whole season? I'm not saying we would have won a playoff game, but it would have been something that would have been able to have been picked up from then into the next season. And I do still believe that Gruden would have made the same deal. He may have ended up paying more and giving up more to get Devontae Adams here the following year as it was that Josh McDaniels did, right? John Gruden was ripped from this team in a way that was very unfair, but it had to be done. Like just the way that whole thing went, right? We don't know what John Gruden really would have built if he would have been able to stick this one out. And I'm going to try to speed up this process because I don't want this to be a long drawn out thing here. But this was another opportunity where Mark Davis found himself having to make another crucial decision for this organization. And he had a lot of people in his ear. He had a lot of people giving him advice. Again, he knows what he doesn't know. John Gruden was supposed to be the guy that handled these sort of things and was running this. This just came upon him. He didn't know what to do. And he went with what a lot of people in the league thought was a great hire. They didn't even know Josh McDaniels was on the market. And that's what he went with. He brought in his good friend. Everything was going to be good and dandy. And we already know, and I'm not even going to get into it, it was a hot mess, man. It all fell apart. Next thing you know, we're blowing up the team. Next thing you know, we fired another coach in year 2. Right back to where we were again. Along comes Antonio Pierce, who we thought was going to be the savior of this organization and bring us back to the promised land, the Raider way. Let's go, Raiders. We were going to be that team again. And let's just be honest, man. Mark Davis, without any guidance or any true leadership in that organization at the moment, just played off what his team was saying, what his players were saying, right? What his fan base was saying. And he made a decision based off feelings and not reality. and gave Antonio Pierce a 2-year deal. Antonio Pierce just simply wasn't ready. I mean, I can't sit here. I don't have a crystal ball to be able to tell you Antonio Pierce was going to turn out to be something that was going to end up being this great NFL head coach and stuff. I mean, he had a great interim run, but when it came to a whole season of putting things together, he didn't have the name. He didn't have the personality to bring in the right offensive coordinator. He got to inherit Patrick Graham. He brought in all these veterans to kind of help him make these decisions, but he couldn't trust his gut. You heard him say it himself. I should have just trusted my gut more. Well, it's like, man, you brought too many hands inside the cookie jar, bro. It is what it is, but you couldn't manage the game and you couldn't plan properly and you couldn't line yourself up to be as successful as you possibly could have been. But that was because of lack of experience. So when he did not make it in it through the second year and they fired him, I understood it. And I think most people, most fans felt that way as well. Like, this was a guy that did not need to be here. We needed to move forward. But then reality sets in again, guys. Okay. We have become full-blown dysfunctional. The Ben Johnson thing rolls out. Tom Brady finally now he's a partial owner. Now he has a voice. Now he has a say. And all reports are saying that Tom Brady is in that office, man. He's the one really trying to run this organization. And this is what Mark Davis was doing when he offered him a way in to the Raiders organization. He was basically saying, hey, I need someone to be the man that kind of oversees this. This is not my thing, and I want to be successful. So this is where I'm saying Mark Davis deserves a lot of credit, because from day one, he has never stopped admitting that he knows what he doesn't know, and he's never stopped admitting that, or fighting and trying to put together something that made sense, to find a guy that can come and help not only coach this football team, but kind of help him with the day-to-day football operations. And I think out of all the things that he's attempted and all his failures, but his fight, his will to win, his pride and poise, his commitment to excellence, whether you agree with it or see it the way that he's trying to do it or not, this is one of the best things that's happened for this organization, is having a guy like Tom Brady, unproven yet, but has a lot of executives around him. They're building this thing a bit different than we've seen in the past. You know, he brought in his guy, John Spytek. And I'm going to be real, man. I keep everybody talking up this dude. Everybody was talking up Josh McDaniels too. Before I get into this next part of this 2025 season and where we find ourselves at today, I want to make this disclaimer loud and clear, man. For people like John Spytek and where we're at, let's let them. We've been down this road. I believe that he's going to be great. Like, he has the resume. He put in his time. This is his moment to shine. But let's not anoint this guy as the next coming of Al Davis and moving us into the greatness of the Raiders is in its future until the greatness is here. Okay. I want to first and foremost put that out there. And that's not a knock on Spytek. That's not a knock on Brady. That's not a knock on Mark. I'm basically stating the obvious here, y'all, which is let's let this all play itself out. It's all lining up. There's a lot of pieces in place, but let's just let nature take its course. But before we hired John Spytek, Ben Johnson, the most sought out, young, talented coach, was in the radar. A lot of us are in the media. A lot of people say the Raiders were being used again. I really don't care. I don't really care what it was all about. The bottom line, once again, is the Raiders, even with this fantastic city in Las Vegas, which is the lights are always running. I mean, it's a great location. Probably too great of a location for outside teams to come in and watch their team play. But we have the top-notch facility. We have an owner that's not afraid to spend money and try to make things work and be successful. We have no state tax. With all that said, nobody wanted a coach here. Nobody wanted to be a lame duck coach, someone that's going to get a contract and not be given the proper opportunity to succeed. Nobody wanted it. Nobody was going to take that chance. Oh, we don't even know who their quarterback's going to be. I could sit here and do another 30, 45 minutes about the quarterback position, what's coming soon, by the way, but it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. They didn't trust the Raiders to do anything about the position because we never do. We never do. Look at our history at the quarterback position. It's not so great. We've had some great quarterbacks. Okay. But we have not shown that we're a team that's going to be aggressive and do everything that we can to get arguably what is talked about to be the most important position on a football team. Mind-blowing, right? So they go and they grab Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, John Spytek, here we go. 72 years old, 72, 73. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Let me just say this. I just want to say this. We don't know how much time Pete Carroll's going to have. He's a ball of energy. The man does not stop, dude. He has got an incredible motor, an incredible passion, and wanting to, what do they call him? Compete Pete? Mr. Compete Carroll? This is probably one of the most intriguing hires I think we've done, not only in the Mark Davis era, but really in even like an Al Davis era. Like getting a guy that has this type of resume to come in, a proven guy to come in here. And look, he has an opportunity to not only build a competitor, to live up to his name, compete, but to really change the culture. That's what he's honestly here to do. They want him to build something that's attractive. We have to win, bring a winning culture, develop a quarterback, make this team something to be cherished. Like if you can't make it, Pete, right? 3 to 4 years, Pete, you're ready to hang it up and your age is catching up to you, whatever it may be, that we don't find ourselves in the situation we are now where no quarterback, we want to show some dedication to you. We want you to give us some dedication and build something that's going to make people want this to be one of the most sought out organizations to coach in the 32 teams that are in the league today. That's mission number one. And that does not mean that he's not here to build a competitor and try to compete to win, but that is first and foremost what he is obligated to reach. That is his 3-year window. Is to change the culture and the way that this team is not only viewed from a competitive standpoint, but just from the outside looking in as a place that you want to be the next great heir to the Raider Nation. Straight up. And he has the pedigree, he has the resume to at least deliver that. If you're a fan, you want the ring, man. You want the championships. You don't care if it's the AFC West Championship. You don't care if it's the AFC Championships or the Super Bowl, the World Championship. But you want to be relevant, and I want to be relevant. And dang it, that may not be Pete's first objective, to be honest with you. But Pete's a competitor, and he wants it. So it's not as if he's not going for that, but his measuring stick is not to win a championship. It's to turn the direction of this organization around from a player, personnel, from a total culture change to take us into the next generation. And even more than that, it might be his responsibility to find the heir. Maybe the heir's in the building now. We got Patrick Graham back. We got Chip Kelly that they brought in. Guys that you and I both might be sitting here going, I don't know if that's what I want moving forward, but it's there. We don't know what's going to happen yet. We don't know who the quarterback is. We don't know what the defense is going to look like. We don't know anything. But we have coaches in place that are highly regarded, by the way. We got to give Patrick Graham his due, right? That was a great hire by Pete Carroll, bringing him back, having the opportunity to bring him back. He was lined up to take that Jags job. He got kind of screwed out of that job, but Patrick Graham's one of those dudes, right? Chip Kelly, yeah, I mean, there's some things to like and there's some things to be concerned about, and nobody wants to sit here and say that we want him as the next head coach. And a lot of things that are said are shown that he might not even want to be a head coach. And I don't know that. You don't know that. But he's had experience before. He had a little bit of success in the Philly before some things went awry. I'm not even going to approach it and talk about it. But the one thing that we do know is this ain't a Luke Getsy hire, right? This is a legit offensive guy who is going to do whatever he can to build the proper offense. We're going to run the football. We're going to play defense. We are set up right now from a coaching standpoint and an organizational standpoint, from Mark Davis to Tom Brady to John Spytek to Pete Carroll and his coaching staff. I really haven't really been able to sit back in a very long time and look at this coaching staff and say, wow, pretty solid across the board. That doesn't guarantee us, a playoff berth. That doesn't guarantee us a playoff win or a Super Bowl appearance whatsoever. All I'm saying is, just on paper, sitting back and looking at where we're at, this has got to be one of, if not the best coaching staffs that we have put together, man, probably since John Gruden's run in 2003. Rob Ryan, Callahan, Gruden. Just for the record. Obviously overseen by the late, great Al Davis. Right? It was Al's last run. It was Al's last run before he really started to deteriorate as a man. His health started to fail. He wasn't making the same type of decisions he was in his early years, and it is what it is. But since that 98 to 2003 run, this is the best on paper that we've ever been, coaching wise, right? I believe that we have, a scout and a general manager that's got his first out. He gets to make his mark. He gets to put something together, right? Like it's intriguing. Nothing's guaranteed. Like I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I always have been. But I am by all means not ready to fill that cup up and start chugging. It ain't going to happen yet. I got to let all of this play out. But I'm going to round this back up to the top so we can get out of here. Mark Davis, right? The man everybody loves to hate, has fought and clawed his way into this moment. All Mark has ever wanted to be was a good owner. Mark has never wanted to be a good football manager, a good player personnel guy, a good football mind. He's never set out. He's always been honest and upfront and said, hey, this is not who I am. And I've been looking and trying to find that guy. And he thought he had that in John Gruden. And if I had to pick out, because I don't want to just be like pom-pom fanboy here. If I had to pick out Mark Davis's greatest fault is his heart and his loyalty to the people that he loves and cherishes. We live by a motto around here. Once a Raider, always a Raider. And that needs to live on. That's part of our culture. That's part of who we are. But we got to stop thinking that just because you were a Raider or you're known and loved by somebody from the Raider Nation or the Raider organization or whatever it is, that's what this team and this organization needs. No, we need somebody like a Tom Brady, a tuck rule Tom Brady, to come in here with his pedigree and the ability to kind of know what he's looking for with a vision of what he thinks is going to be a championship team. And he's been on plenty, and bring in the type of people that need to be put into place to see that through. People that he's worked with as far from a player perspective and knows what they're capable of doing from a general manager perspective. A guy that he can lean on from a coach that says, you know what, we don't know what's going to happen in these next 3 years with Pete Carroll, but damn, his resume is good. And damn, he has a responsibility, and he's going to come in here and build something that just might click and work. It's something different. It's something fresh. There's no strong tie to the old Raiders. It's something new and exciting, and it has the potential and the possibility to be way bigger than we ever thought it could be. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And it's been a long time, and I'm not going to sit here and get on my soapbox. I did that at the beginning of the episode for a little bit, but I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to enjoy the ride. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, I want to come back, and we got to start having the free agency conversation. We got to start seeing where we're at. I have some thoughts and feelings, not only about what we need to do from a defensive standpoint, but really what I think Max Crosby is at with this organization, the good and potentially the bad, but good for Max, good for the Raiders. I don't think there's really a bad situation right now. If you look at the Max Crosby situation, I don't think there's a bad scenario here. You know, there's one that I prefer over the other, but I think really Max holds a lot of the keys here to our success. He really does. Not only for the 2025 season, but the future. And we'll be back here tomorrow to talk all about the defense, free agency, how I think they should be looking at this moving forward. From my perspective anyway, man, it feels good to actually make another video. I'm pretty excited. So, hey, if you guys are liking what you're hearing, you guys want to be around for what's coming down the pipeline, please hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you can be updated every time these get posted. Man, and until next time, stay Raider strong. Night out.